Hello, my name is Maxwell McEwen and today I'll be talking about some idents I made for South Essex College. This is ident 1. This is the first ident I made. The theme for this project was to make an ident for our college that we were at. And in this first ident you can clearly see that I have used a text blur type of effect to blur the text in, to blur it back out. After the text I brought in the logo, just so that the logo for the college is seen in this ident. It's not very long, but I think it gets straight to the point. This idea started off a little randomly, as did all my first ideas for these idents. Originally I wanted it to look like as if we were holding a camera and it's blurry but comes into focus, like when you are using a very high quality camera and you have to zoom in to focus it on something. That's the kind of look I went for at first, but then decided that this look with the text would be a lot better. I thought about maybe bringing the logo in the same kind of blurred to focused way, but I found it looked better just kind of faded in as the text faded out. For the reference for this ident, I went on videocopilot.com and followed the tutorial for the text blur tiles effect, which is number 8 on the list of the tutorials. So as for reference, I am in a sense just doing what he did there, but changed the text to what I wanted it to be and added the logo in the end. The artist that helped me was the creator of videocopilot.com, as he created the tutorial, and his name is Andrew Kramer, I think that's how it's pronounced, and he does a lot of tutorials on how you can do these different things. For example, for any people who are fans of Harry Potter, he has shown how to do the effect of when a Dementor is sucking the soul out of someone, like a soul removal. And he's done another tutorial on shooting lights, almost like someone's having a wand battle or something. But he does a lot of different things. He can do lots of different face warps. He's also done a tutorial showing how to make lightsabers, in the sense of like the glowing parts of the lightsabers, so you could make a lightsaber fight for all the Star Wars people out there. In most of his tutorials he uses After Effects, some he uses Maya, some he uses extra plugins. For the ident that I used when I was following the tutorial, he only used After Effects, so therefore I only used After Effects. The skills that I developed whilst making this ident was figuring out how to render, because I'd forgotten. So I figured out how to render thanks to the help of my friend, and now I know exactly how to render things, which sounds silly, but at least I know now and I don't have to ask every time. And on this ident that was the main thing I learnt, as the rest was quite easy to follow. I kind of wish I'd explored how to make them move around a bit, or like to maybe as they fade in and out they change colour, or they move as they fade in. Kind of wish I'd played around a little more before finishing it. Most people who have viewed my ident have said that it's quite simple, quite basic, not too complex, but gets the message across. It's quite short, simple, and to the point. I think this ident is okay, but it is my least favourite out of the 3. I just don't think I left enough time in between when the text fades out and the logo fades in. I wish it was a couple seconds longer maybe, just so I could have smoothed that out a little more. If I could go back, I would probably sit there and change a few colours, like the background could be one colour of the logo and the words could be another, each word a different one, and as the words fade out and the logo fades in, the background could change to either black or white, to probably black, because that would make the logo stand out quite a bit more. But yes, if I could redo it, that's probably the only change I would make. For this ident, the purpose was to make it as quick as possible, like the words flying, as you can see the words like fly past quite quickly, but it's to make it as quick as possible while still being able to be on the screen long enough to be readable, but still get the message across. And it's kind of quite dynamic. It's quite sudden, quick and sharp, and it just kind of catches your attention because it moves rather quickly. With this, when I first started, it moved quite slowly rather than just zooming in. So I had to work to get it slightly quicker. Once again, I followed a tutorial for this on videocopilot.com, which I mentioned earlier. In this tutorial, Andrew just used After Effects again, so I did exactly the same and just used After Effects. This one was quite tricky for me, as I stumbled across quite a few things that caused me issues, especially when I was changing it to get the logo to come in as well. And for example, as I had one extra word than he does in his tutorial ident, I had to figure out how to get that flash for my other word, and then I needed to do that for the logo as well. So technically I had 2 extra things to add to it that he didn't do. So when it came to doing that, I found it was a little harder than I originally thought. So I feel like I managed to develop my problem solving skills, as it was quite hard for me. I did have to ask my tutor to help me quite a few times, but there were a few occasions where I managed to figure it out on my own, so I'm quite proud of myself for that. I'm quite happy with what I managed to explore with this tutorial. So there isn't really anything I'd say that I wish I could explore further, as I'm quite happy with what I've done. Other people have said that this one's quite dramatic. It's very snappy, very at the point, quite similar to my first ident, but I'm quite happy with the result of this ident. And I would say it's probably my favourite one because of how dramatic it is, but I do wish I could, if I could go back and do it all over again, start again, I would probably add some music and have the words fly in and bounce around to like a beat or something, like a very dramatic music or very dramatic sounds, just to give it that more emphasis, like come to South Essex College, we're really cool, like look what I made just for this college. It's only a few seconds long, but it's quite cool, I think. This is my third ident. This one is once again quite simple, but at the same time I did have to make a few adjustments to it. This was the simplest of the idents I did, in the sense of what's involved in it. For this one, I wanted it to just kind of bounce a bit. Like if you saw it out the corner of your eye, you'd probably turn and look because it's something moving quite quick. With this, it started with I was going to have it just fall into the screen, and it was just going to have a blue light in the background. And whilst I was making this, I decided that I wanted it to bounce a bit more, and I didn't want the background lighting, the like little flare you see at the background, to be blue, because you couldn't see all of the logo very clearly, so I changed it to red. So it did change quite a bit actually whilst I was making it, rather than my start plan to making it. It actually changed whilst I was making it. Once again, I got the tutorial for this off of videocopilot.com. Andrew only used After Effects in this, so that's what I used. I feel I managed to do quite well with this ident, although it's very simple and doesn't look very hard. In the tutorial, he's animating the text, so the text had to be animated, and then I had to go along the timeline and frame by frame put all the keyframes of where I wanted the logo to move to follow where the words were, to make sure it followed the same pattern. So it was actually a little long-winded, but I got there in the end, and it's very quick. People who have seen this ident said it was very quick, very short, because it is literally just the logo bouncing onto the screen and just stilling for a couple seconds. The people who viewed this ident thought it was very short, very simple, but quite like the colour design it had. Because in the flare light, if you noticed, it was red, and then in the very middle it was kind of like a light blue colour, kind of blue, whitey colour, and had a couple blue streaks in it. And I personally thought that was quite cool as well, as it wasn't just one solid colour, it was quite a few. I'm quite happy with how it turned out in the end. Although if I was to do it all over again, I would probably find a way of making it slightly longer, because it is very short. And once again, I might add a bit of sound to it as well. Maybe the sound of a bouncing ball or something hitting the ground every time it bounced to the bottom of the screen, just to give it a little emphasis on what it's doing. So those were the 3 idents I made for South Essex College. They are quite simple, but I enjoyed making them. I hope you enjoyed seeing them, and I hope you enjoyed my evaluation of them. Bye! No, ignore that.